What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. If you guys are new here, new to the channel, never seen my face before, make sure to go down and subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about the Bronco once again, and we're talking about some features that you need to get from the factory with your Ford Bronco if you're going to be ordering one, or things you should be looking for if you're planning to pick one of these things up. But let's give it a start up and take a step inside. Amazing Bronco animation right there. But let's get the door a little close. Always got to give these doors an extra slam, otherwise they don't close. So I know when people are buying Broncos, not everyone is going to want the most expensive and most highly optioned Bronco that they can possibly get. Some of the features are just no-brainers and things that you just should get. So the first must-have isn't really much of a feature, but it's the motor options giving in the Bronco. So the Bronco comes with two different motors. It comes with a 2.3 liter and a 2.7 liter. In my opinion, the 2.7 is the only way to go. At one point, the 4-cylinder was a little bit more available. It was easier to get, so I understand why people want to go with the 4-cylinder. The 4-cylinder motor also comes with the manual transmission. So the only upside to getting the 4-cylinder is that you get the manual, and it's cheaper. But in my opinion, the 6-cylinder is a must-have if you have the little bit of extra money and don't want the manual. If you're gonna get an automatic, you might as well get the 6-cylinder because you get so much more power and towing capacity, and it's just an overall huge bump. I understand the motor is a more expensive thing, but I think while you're there, you might as well spend the money to get the little bit of an upgrade. It's a little bit of a pricey one, but in my opinion, it's well worth it, especially if you're not going for the highest, trim level possible, or even if you are getting something like an Outer Banks. I think you should get the 6-cylinder. I just prefer it so much more, and I think it's a worthy upgrade. I mean, I'm over here asking for Ford to give us a V8, so the very least you can do is get yourself a V6. Now, let's head over to the exterior now that we've talked about the motor. One of the things, in my opinion, that you should do if you're owning a Bronco is that you need to get some type of fun color. There are so many great color choices available for the Bronco. I think that it is kind of inexcusable to get a black or a boring gray color, even though the black looks good, I think, in the Bronco, and the silver-ish gray, the dark gray, looks good. There are so many fun colors to go with. Even like white is one of those colors. It might be infamous for the Bronco because of a certain football player, but I think there's so many fun choices to go with. You might as well get one of the fun choices, because it's not every day that you're buying a super fun, like just off-roady, quirky, cool vehicle. This is a very cool truck. It's not something everyday boring, so you might as well make it stand out and look a little fun as well. I don't know, just my opinion. Just my opinion. This next one is for the fellow Wisconsinites, Midwesterns, places where it snows, and that is going to be the hardtop. So the soft top, in my opinion, number one, doesn't look as good, but number two, in the wintertime, these hardtops have a little bit of an issue keeping in a ton of heat. Not saying that, they're leaking or anything, but the soft tops are going to leak. There's been cases where people leave them outside and they actually end up folding when snow is piled on top of them. Sure, that's going to be fixed in the future, but I think as a fellow Midwesterner, I recommend to all of you the hardtop version. I bought the hardtop strictly because of the looks. I can't stand the look of the soft tops, and it's a personal preference, it really is, but it's my recommendation, so I'm going to recommend the hardtop in these things. Coming back over to the interior of the Bronco, one of the biggest things, or biggest appearance things that you can add to a Jeep or Bronco, a truck, is lighting. You can add the bigger tires, which give it an effect, which we'll talk about in the next and last thing. But for number 4, I think you need to get yourselves the auxiliary switches as the option. It's a very cheap and inexpensive option compared to the rest of the vehicle, but what this does is it pre-wires everything for you. So if you're planning to add lights in the future, or you may think of adding one light, a winch, or just some type of accessory that you're gonna have to power in some type of way, these are all pre-wired. Most of the switches are wired down to the engine bay, meaning you can have these wired up, you can have a light bar up front wired up, and you can have a winch or a couple of accessory lights wired to the front. I believe there is also one that leads itself to the back, but I would have to double check the diagrams to be sure of that. Who wants to have an ugly controller in their car when you can have such an OEM looking switch, and you actually have, in my opinion, more than enough, or more than a normal person would even want. So it's definitely worth the money in my opinion, and I can't wait to get some use out of these. This last one is another expensive one, and that is going to be the Sasquatch package. So, my opinion, you should not be buying a Bronco if you're not planning to make it look like this. In my opinion, if they don't have big tires and they don't have a lift on them, or if you're not planning to do that, it just won't look right. And the Sasquatch pack does it for a affordable price, honestly. With all the features you get, I think it's well worth it. So, considering everything you're getting, I think it's definitely worth the step up. You're getting upgraded 35-inch tires, the beadlock capable wheels, a 1.5-inch lift with upgraded suspension components and bigger fender flares, and there's probably a couple other smaller things that I'm missing as well. But it is a very well-rounded package. Also in the rear, the diff ratio is changed, so there's actually quite a bit of things and upgrades that you get with the Sasquatch package, and I feel like it's a definitely mandatory step up if you can afford to spend it. It's definitely not a cheap option. It comes in at a couple of $1,000s depending on what trim level you have. If you have a more off-roady trim, they're gonna cost less because you already have a couple of those features standard with that trim level, but it's definitely more expensive for the Outer Banks trim because the Outer Banks are made to be more luxury, but then when you put the Sasquatch package on it, they have to add the other things that they didn't add to the Outer Banks package. Whew, it's cold, man. But with all those things being said, that is 5 things that I think you should option or try to look for when you're getting a Bronco from the factory or off a showroom floor. Those, in my opinion, are some must-have options for me. I got all of those options on my truck, and I don't regret a single one of them, and I couldn't live without a couple of those. The bigger motor, I wouldn't want to buy a Bronco without the bigger motor. Sasquatch package, if I didn't get it, not the end of the world, but I would have made it look like this anyways. Hardtop, wouldn't have bought a Bronco without a hardtop. The switches, in my opinion, are just a cool touch, and the Raptor has them, and I really am happy that they gave them to the Bronco as an option. But we made it home. I got the Bronco all parked up. Those are definitely some of the must-have features, honestly. Like I said, it just, some things you need to get. It's never fun to get a fully base model truck, a car, whatever, and since there's so many fun features that Ford is offering, I think you at least need to get a couple of them. For some of them, like the motor and the Sasquatch package, I can understand if you don't want to spend the money, but you might as well spend just a little bit of money, get a fun paint color, because they don't cost too much more than the base model, and some of them are free. I mean, just look at how good this eruption green looks. It's one of my favorite paint colors I have seen in the Broncos, and it's something different. You never see green cars. It's different, it's fun, it's unique, and I guess it's all about being fun with the Bronco. The Bronco is just a fun machine. I don't consider the Bronco to be a normal SUV. I honestly just consider it to be another toy, and you know, you might as well make the toys look cool. But that's all I have for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video while you're there. Want to see Mustang content, Bronco content, Miata content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Some more fun videos coming towards you guys soon. Can't wait for it to warm up, but I'll see you guys in the next video.